Love can make you unlearn all you have learned intellectually, not remember the past, forget the present, and not think of the future. Renounce everything and everyone, including your own self. Escape from all that is illusory and take refuge in reality. Burn all your desires and longings and kindle the one and only desire and longing, union with the divine beloved. Become God, live God's life and make others God unto yourself. To be worthy of the divine gift of his love, let your thoughts, words, and deeds be controlled by the constant remembrance of God. Understanding has no meaning. Love has meaning. Obedience has more meaning. Holding my daman has the most meaning. Jai Meher Baba.
خدا خدا
wanted to say a few words about this beautiful song that we heard and the remarkable work that Mernaz did in putting images to it. It is by Shajarian and by Nusrat Fateh Ali Shah, who is perhaps the most famous Qawwali singer that, passed away recently, but he brought the Qawwali music and introduced it to the West. He is from the Chishti Sufi order, and Qawwali goes back to that lineage. I also wanted to say a few words about some of the things that Mernaz read about holding onto my daman has the most meaning. And I think we talked about Sahabas before. And just to remind you, Baba said at one point, and this was, Baba did not give Sahabas until 1954, except to his intimate people. Before that, when he had crowds, he would give darshan. Darshan is when you go and you bow down to divinity in Baba. And Baba used to bow down to people's divinity as well. That is a recognition of duality. But after the new life, and in 1954, Baba started a new trend. And he said, it's for my lovers. He called them Sahabas. It began in 1954 when the men's meeting was the 3 incredible weeks. And what he wanted during these Sahabas, he explained, and he said, I want you to feel one with me. I want us to feel like one family under a roof. We have no agenda. We have no kind of a goal or aim or anything, except to just be with each other and just in a most natural way, be with each other. And this is very, very different from the way things used to be in the world of duality when we had to learn all the lessons of duality. Now, after Baba's new life, he has made it possible for us to feel his intimacy and our oneness with him. So when we read the Parvardigar prayer, the preserver and protector, you are everywhere, you are in everything. Our tendency, our habit is to think that it is this big thing somewhere out there that's so different from us and so far away from us that we can only kind of worship from afar. But a Sahaba is different. He wants us to understand those words. You are everywhere. You are right here. You're not anywhere else. You're everywhere else as well, but you're also here. You're with us. You're in us. You are everything. You know everything, but we are part of that. He wants to remind us that as unimaginable as God appears to be, we are one with God. God has everlastingly wanted to live in us. And now Baba has made it available, has made it possible. And another thing is that, holding onto his daman, just like a child isn't thinking about anything, goes through the marketplace up and down, holding onto his mother's daman, doing everything, seeing everything, but that intimacy is there. that sense of intimacy. اون حالت یگانگی، یکی بودن با بابا، اونه که بابا میخواد از ما. And he said that that has the most meaning, holding onto my daman. Just completely be resigned to his will, surrender. You just totally surrender. There is nothing to be after or want, not even God. You don't even, well, I mean, wanting God is a wanting. You already have God. Just be with me. That is why he said it has even more meaning than love, even more meaning than obedience. Just being with him. And, you know, love is, that is love. You see, that's the real love. It is the kind of a love that Erich had, which he didn't even know he had. If you remember, Baba asked him, "Do you love me?" He said, "I don't know." So anyhow, now going back to our topic, there were two topics that we were going to talk about. One was karma, and another one was what helps spiritual growth. چه چیزی به رشد روحانی کمک میکنه. Well, we all know that. Baba has told us. The only thing that helps is love. And just as we spoke about it, what is love? Love is that thing that if you have it, you don't even know that you have it. But then how do you develop it? How do you develop that love? There's a very interesting story by Upasni Maharaj. I don't remember if I've told you this story or not, but it's so sweet that it is worth repeating, even if I've told you before. Upasni tells the story about this simpleton who, like Baba Taher, that somebody told him, if you jump into a cold water in the middle of the winter, you get God realization. And he believed it so firmly that he jumped into the freezing cold water in the middle of winter. And of course, he became Baba Taher. But this story has a different nuance to it. This simpleton, somehow somebody wanted to tease him, and he said, you know what? If you want to get God realization, you have to eat feces. You have to eat excrement. بایدی گوه بخوری. یه تیکه گوه برداری بذاری تو دهنت بخوری. اگه اون کارو کردی، اون وقت به خدا میرسی. این مردم به قدر علاقه داشت که به خدا برسه که عشق داشت که گرفت گذاشت دهنش رو خورد، ولی دید هیچ اتفاقی نیفتاده. گفت من حتما یه کار اشتباهی کردم، اینو درست نخوردم. چی کار کردم که به خدا نرسیدم؟ این است که راه میفته دور هند، از این مرشد به اون مرشد، از این گورو به اون گورو، از این مستر به اون مستر، که من اینجوری شنیدم و این کار کردم و به هیچ جایی نرسیدم. شما که به خدا رسیدی آیا این کار رو کردی؟ اونا هم گفتن نه والا ما همچین کار نکردیم. و در حال سالها این دنبال این بود که ببینه چه کار غلطی کرده و چه جور بایستی اصلاح بکنه، تا اینکه بالاخره میرسه به یک مرشد کاملی و این ماجرا باهاش در میون میذاره. و مرشد کامل یه نگاهی بهش میکنه و میگه ببین این همه زحمتی که کشیدی، این همه کوششی که کردی، این همه عشقی که داشتی، گرچه موضوعش خیلی پوش پا افتاده و اصلا به درد نخور بود، ولی اون انگیزه‌ای که در تو باعث شد این کارا رو بکنی. So what made you eat that, and all the years that you've been around looking for what you did wrong, has now paid off. And now it is time for you to be realized. And you're realized. And Upasni Maharaj was trying to make a point that it doesn't matter what you do, how you do, what you think. It is that thirst. It is that longing. It's that aspiration. It is that earnestness within one that does the trick. And so there's no right way. There's no wrong way. It is just that sense of wanting to do that. So I just wanted to kind of give that story out, and then maybe we will come back to this story, this topic of spiritual growth and what helps. And of course, what I say is my limited understanding of things that I have been told, I have read, and have come across. And many of you know these much better than I do. But as Hafez says, یک نکته بیش نیست سخن عشق و این عجب، از هر زبان که میشنوم نامکرر است. Love is a single word, but it never gets repetitious no matter how many times I hear it repeated. And so that's what we are doing here. We are just repeating different ways of talking about love. I also wanted to say that why Baba has so much emphasis on love. In the video, the beautiful video that Myrna's put together, we saw images of monks, boys who were meditating, and elders who were meditating in caves. So love has not always been this central in all the ages that have passed. There have been times that other things have been, meditation, so forth, so on, have been important. And even today, for some people, those are the ways that are appropriate for them because they have not quite finished that experience. And as we will see, all experiences are absolutely necessary. But now we are at the time of the seventh avatar. And, you know, Baba talked in the book that came out, Creation and Its Causes, which is the discourses that beloved Baba gave to the Prem-ashram boys. He talked about that all of creation is made out of 6 currents of energy. And then on another place, he says 7. So Ward Parks, who edited the book, has this question that he asks in the book, which is it? Is it 6 or is it 7? Well, the way it is, it was also explained to me in the same way 40 years ago, that there are 6, but then there is a 7th. The 7th energy integrates all the other 6 and gives them direction. So all of creation is made out of 6 major currents. And then there's a seventh one that pushes them up towards the evolutionary trend and integrates them, brings them together. Now, each avatar of the cycle, in the period of each avatar, one of these six is predominant. One of these energies is predominant. But during the seventh avatar, it is the seventh current which integrates, which brings together, which unifies. And that force is called love. That which brings things together, which brings duality into unity. It is called love. And this is the time of love. And not just because it is the seventh avatar, but maybe we'll talk about it more. We have talked about it before, but it's easy not to connect to it the first time one hears it. Baba is also the Kalki avatar, and Baba is also the highest of the high, the ancient one, who brings in a new creation. So for all of these reasons, at this time, love is the only thing that is that helps, and Baba wants his lovers to focus on. And just before the program began, there was that beautiful video, Baba talking about that pool of love, and how just another focus on love. So anyhow, I just wanted to kind of put that out there. Now, before we get to karma and so forth, are there any things that we need to talk about? Any topics or questions or comments or anything?
Actually, Ramin had his hand up. Ramin John, did you have a question?
جیبا و دوستان سلام. حقیقتش صحبت از وقتی که میگید مثلا دامن بابا رو بگیریم، گاهی وقتا مثلا توی زندگی روزمره اگه بخوایم به صورت پرکتیکالی به چطوری به کارش میبرید، چطوری دامن بابا رو نگه خب حالا این گفته دامن بابا رو نگه دار سیمبولیکلی، بعد این چطوری اتفاق میفته توی روزمره؟
بابا خودش گفته برای ما که چجوری این کار رو بکنیم. همون سال 1954 ببین میگه که خیلی طبیعی، شما وقتی مثلا باید اینجوری باشه که مثل این که همه ما زیر یه سقف داریم زندگی میکنیم، مثل یه فامیل هست. توی فامیل چی کار میکنیم؟ صبح بلند میشیم، پدرم اونجاست، مادرم اونجاست، بچه ها اونجا، خواهر برادر، سلام حال شما چطوره، خوب هستید، اینا، میریم دنبال کارمون. ظهر برمیگردیم برای نهار، سلام چطوری مادر جان، کاری داری، اینا، نهار میخوریم، برمیگردیم دوباره، شب میایم شام میخوریم، سلام چطوری، اینا، همگی خوب هستید، بعد دوباره میریم وقت خواب، خدایا شکرت، خداحافظ پدر، خداحافظ مادر، خداحافظ برادر. So, in 1954, Baba gave the same instruction, not in these words, but in the same idea. He said, do one thing. When you get up, wake up in the morning, wear me, dress your soul with me. Just remember me. And then at lunchtime, noontime, remember me again. And then in the evening time, remember me again. And at night, before you go to bed, remember me again. And then during the day, you have to be active. You can't be passive, sitting somewhere, trying to kind of force your mind to do unnatural ways of thinking. Just this simple thing will help remarkably in aligning one and tuning on one in being with Baba. Even the times that you don't think of Baba, you are thinking of Baba. An example that Baba gave from Nizamuddin Aulia, the perfect master whose shrine Baba used to visit in Delhi almost every time he went there. Nizamuddin Aulia, somebody asked him how to remember God, and said, there were some ladies walking by, and in India, there is this habit of, women carry these, whatever they want to carry on their heads, usually jugs of water, heavy jugs of water. They put something on their head, and then they put the jug of water there, and they walk around. And he said, see, you have to remember God like that. They're chatting with each other, doing this, doing that, going here, going there, and yet they still remember not for this water to fall. So it becomes a very natural way of, I think Baba didn't want unnatural ways of doing things, because the minute you force something, you create sanskaras, you create bindings, and it has to be unbound. But now is the time to totally surrender everything to God. Another way that one can do is to completely surrender it to Baba. During the day, whatever comes, if there is an anxious moment, if there is whatever, just try to remember. It's hard, I know. It's very hard for me. I know it's hard for me. It must be hard for others as well. To remember in that moment of intensity that it is Baba's deal. It's what he's doing, and I have nothing to do with it. It has nothing to do with me. And I surrender to you, Baba. Whatever you wanted to happen, let it happen. And so that is the other, way. And each of us develop our own, habits or patterns or ways of doing this. So it's usually very personal, Ramin John. So I hope that helped.
خیلی ممنون. مرسی.
Sure. Arvin John.
جای بابا.
جای بابا.
یه سوال بر من پیش اومد. شما فرمودین وقتی که این مانکا مدیتیشن اینا میکنن، بیس love نیست، بیس چیز دیگه. آیا مدیتیشن که میکنن isn't it based on love and searching for God, love for God, that you're doing it, you're going this way? Or if it's not, then it's based on what?
Yeah, it is love. It's a different kind of love. You see, even if you see, they asked Jivan Mukta, a God-realized person, they said, well, people say that even if you repeat God's name without feeling anything, it doesn't matter. It doesn't work. It is not worth it. And he said, no, you are repeating it even if you don't feel anything. Why are you repeating the God's name without even feeling anything or getting any reward out of it? It's because of love. So it is, meditating is just as good as eating sende. Eating any, see, that's what I'm trying to communicate. That what it is, the intensity of your longing. It is the aspiration in your heart. It is the
it is the longing, yeah.
It is the earnestness. It's the earnestness. But the way it takes an external, manifestation is different. For monks, that is the way. And Baba gave the Sufis meditation, half an hour repeating his name and 15 minutes of meditating. And I can tell you, after 40 years, it's not always, getting lost in Dada land, There are times that it is like that, but there are times that the mind goes every which way. But you
Still,
do it
after so many years.
yeah, because Baba says you do it, and so you do it. And the thing is, we always are so focused on my progress, my this and that, my. It has nothing to do with my. Right now, we think everything is mine, but it has to do with everyone and everything, which is Baba. So whatever you do, it helps him. If he says, meditate on me, say my name, it is because it helps him do whatever it is he wants to do. And so whether you feel it or you don't feel it,
Thank you very much.
whether you meditate or you eat refuse,
I rather meditate.
rather good. At this age, Baba says that even if you don't meditate, it doesn't matter. You just love me. Hold on to my
Just
Dharma.
love you.
Just be natural with me. Don't put a distance between. You see, what happens when you are with a master and you feel that sense of ease and intimacy, what he has seeps into you without you wanting, without you thinking, without him doing anything. That natural oneness allows what he has to seep into you. But now we are in a period of limitless sahabas, which means every moment we can have a sahabas with Baba. We don't have to wait for 700 years for him to come back and then go sit in front of him. He said, before he put his body down, he said, now I'm opening up the gates of the wine shop. It is always now. And anybody who comes to my samadhi, it is just like it's with me. And then and of course, if you can go to his samadhi, so much better. But if you cannot, don't create a distance or don't feel that because you're not over there, you're missing anything. The sahabas of Baba is constant, is always. It is us who put a distance and feel that we put that limitation on him that he can only be reached if we go to India. That's not true.
You reach the point that you see him and you feel him everywhere. Yeah, it's always with you. Yeah.
So
it's his love and his gift to us.
Yeah. So,
thank you very much. Jai Mehbaba.
Jai Baba, yeah. See, that's why I'm saying we all know all of these things. I'm not saying anything new. We just need to tease it out of each other and kind of play with it.
Okay, thank you very much.
Hey, Baba. Ramin's hand is up. Ramin John, you have another question?
Yeah, so the question, where is love when it comes to the monks and the meditate, and where is love? And I asked one serious meditator, actually he was in Buddhist path, and it says it's all about techniques, and so where is love here? And he says the first percept, there's 8 percept in Buddhism. The first percept, do not kill, is out of love, not to kill any animal, not to kill ant, not to kill this. This is the percept before you enter into this path. Do not kill. So we have to have love for other beings so we don't kill them. So the first step was love, out of love, that create these precepts, a framework, so people can grow in a spiritual path. So there's much more depth to it than just Baba simplify it, hold on to my domain. But when it comes to meditators that they are advanced and they are from different paths, for them it's just to coming to the point that not just seeing everything happen is Baba, Baba by my mind projecting things, but actually coming to this awareness of present moment that you see God express itself naturally through every movement in life. And that's different than our mind constantly remind, okay, this is Baba, this is the projecting things. This is one way, of course, at the beginning till our mind mature in the process. But really it's coming to the part that the mind is not involved. We are just so in the present moment that we can feel and see, not seeing with the regular eye, but the expression of divine through different movement in life. And so there's different way, like there's way that in our mind we always say Baba, Baba, and just keeping the remembering that name. And then there's a way that you just don't say Baba name, but you know it so much that it is you who carrying, carrying you forward. You don't think about it. It's like when we are in MeherSepas, we don't think of Babas very much because we are in his presence. But when we are in US and Canada, we think of Baba more even because we are so far away from it. So when we are in the present of it, we don't think about it very much because he's there, But that doesn't mean to be headless about it, of course. So I just wanted to add this comment. Thank you.
Beautifully said, beautifully put. Yeah, I could not agree with you more. That the monks, you see, of course, we have to remember that Baba was Buddha, and he gave those everything that you see people do is divine. Even things that we think are abhorrent, are terrible, they are divine. Because as we discussed last time, and hopefully we can repeat it this time, one has to have all experiences, good and bad. Baba has made that very clear. And so we have to be a monk, we have to be a murderer, we have to, be a Christian martyr. We have to be everything, because that is how the law of karma works. The experience, which is the sanskara, is lodged on these sanskaric fibers. And the law of karma says, okay, now it is time to experience the opposite of this. And so you go and experience the opposite of it. And you go on and on and on and on. And then you get to a point where all experience is complete. When everything has been learned, all the sanskaric fibers are completely covered, now you can begin your return journey. And for the return journey is that everything that was experienced as opposites will come together, will get unified. And we talked about last time that the force of love is what brings them together. And the experience that happens when something internal, way under one's consciousness, unifies. One has the experience of love. Could be you're in a supermarket and suddenly your gaze falls on a bottle of jam, and you begin to feel such a love for this bottle of jam, how beautiful it is, how perfectly shaped it is, and so forth and so on, that suddenly out of nowhere, for no reason, this is something inside of you has united and has sparked that. And so when these opposites come together, they ignite and they cleanse the duality and the coloration of the sanskaras on these fibers. And when enough of these fibers have been prepared, have been cleared to allow them to connect to a higher level of divinity, that's what happens. The fibers connect, get loose. First, they get loose from the body, and then if there's a anyhow, and then they connect with the level appropriate to the level of their cleanliness. And many people feel like they have reached the goal because it is such a sublime experience. It is so different and it is so divine that people often think this is the goal. And that is why Baba has repeatedly said, don't get, it's okay to experience it for a little while, but don't think that's the end of it. And then the next lifetime you come. Okay, and then when you're, you might have connected with a third plane or fifth plane or sixth plane or somewhere. Now you come back the next life. There are still sanskaras to be undone. That's why if you look at the life of saints, you see they begin as totally unsaintly. You look at the life of Saint Francis, who became perfect. You look at Amos van der Aar, any of the saints that you look at, you find that the first part of your Saint Augustine is a very good example that he talks in his own confessions about what a terrible guy he was and what terrible things he did. And so all of those fuel this burning, all of those sanskaras that were accumulated during the winding phase, the energy from them fuel them. When they come together, they ignite and they clean the sanskaras and clean the fibers, and the fibers more fibers become available, and the cleansed fibers are even refined further. And when a person dies, those fibers remain with the soul, those cleansed fibers, so that the next life, after he has gone through the first period of cleansing and getting rid of the terrible stuff, and the time comes for unwinding, he can use and rely on what was cleansed before. گفتم بخت به خسبیدی و خورشید دمید گفت از سابقه نومید مشو. Baba talks about how Sai Baba, the great Qutb al-Irshad, Sai Baba of Meher Baba, was made perfect by Zardari Zarbakhsh, who lived 700 years before. How did that happen? Baba said that very clear multiple times. Erich used to tell us all the time. Every time you would go to Kholdabad, where Zardari's tomb is, the Baba would come and meditate here and seclude himself here and all of that. And he would say about Zardari that he is the one who perfected Sai Baba. And Sai Baba actually had a cave right on the hill next to Zardari's tomb. And so those sanskaras were cleansed. At the kind of the final cleansing was done by Zardari. He put them back together inside of him so that in 600 years they could connect and be dissolved and disappear, and for Sai Baba to become perfect. So, and then going back to your thing about meditation, that Buddhism is very deep and very refined. Of course it is. Every spiritual tradition is absolutely in its core the same. The ways are different. They talk about it different. Buddhism is all about compassion. Compassion is love in action. When you put love in action, we call it compassion. And that is what Buddhism is all about. So we're not saying that meditation is bad, or if eating feces can get you to God, meditation certainly can. So I think I chose that story just to make a point that we shouldn't think that one way is right and one way is wrong. Ramajan, you had another question?
دکتر شفا برای شما آزادی چیه؟
Is another word. He's asking what does the word freedom mean? Freedom is another word, like God realization, like perfection. I have nothing. I know nothing about it. It's an experience. That much, it's a word for an experience. And I guess it's the same thing as unity with God, because when you're free from all your sanskaras, when they've all been cleansed, you arrive at a state where you don't want anything. And if you are to play the role of being in the world and interacting with people, it is very interesting to watch such people, because they don't have any wants of their own. They reflect what you want. They reflect what you want. Upasi Maharaj used to talk about this. He used to say, people would come and he would sometimes get very mad at them and throw things at them and kick them and insult them like Gandhi. And he said, how can it's not me. I'm just projecting back to them what comes to me from them. And that is how perfected beings are. I know an occasion when, never mind, I shouldn't get too personal about it, but it is freedom is the same thing that we are all after, Ramija. We are all after that same thing. We call it by many different names. Did you have a different perspective?
جالبه این اخیراً این واژه فریدام خیلی بر توی ذهن من بیشتر میادش و برای من این که بتونم زندگی کنم بدون اینکه یه برنامه خاصی داشته باشم، برای من این یه نوع آزادی بود. و اینکه وقت داشته باشم، برای خودم وقت داشته باشم که نخوام حتما برای زنده بودنم، برای بقا، برای سروایوینگ حتما بخوام ساعتمو به دنیا بخوام بذارم. در نتیجه برای من آزادی این بود که بتونم زندگیمو از دنیا بازخرید کنم و خودمو آزاد کنم که لازم نباشه حتما برای بقا و زنده بودنم بخوام حتما با دنیا به اون دلیل ارتباط برقرار کنم، بلکه رابطه برقرار کنم به خاطر اون چیزایی که باور دارم و اینا. یه داستان دیگه است. اما خب این یه نوع آزادی بود برای من و اینکه بتونم توی یه مدتی زندگی کردم که بدون اینکه هیچ برنامه‌ای داشته باشم صبح بیدار شم و تمام زندگی رو توی برنامه زندگی کردیم، بیشترش مدرسه و کار و مسئولیت و سیتیزن خوب و تمام اینا رو توی مسئولیت بوده، همیشه توی فریم ورک بوده، همیشه توی برنامه بوده، همیشه توی نظمی بوده و لازمه این. اما اینا خود این کانسکوانس داره و کانسکوانس اینه که انسان تو خود این مخمسه های فریمورکی خودش فریمورک میشه. بعدش به خاطر همین آزادی در اومدن از این تمام این فریمورک هاست و در اصل فکر کنم توجه به بابا دادن در اصل یه راه از این فریم ها در اومدن هستش. عشق یه راه هستش که کمک میکنه انسان از فرم هایی که توش فرم گرفته در بیاد و حالا چه درونی چه بیرونی و بتونه به صورت دیس اتچ زندگی کنه توی این، بتونه به صورت وابسته باشه توشون اما آلودهشون نشه. خب این یه نوع آزادی بود دیگه که از نظر معنوی که بخوایم نگاش کنیم یکی هست دنیایی هستش میگه زندگیمو نمیخوام به دنیا بدم، خودشو آزاد میکنه از اونجا. یکی هم هست آزادی درونی هستش که آزاد میشه از این فرم هایی که توش فرم گرفته و یواش یواش به صورت سانکاره ها و این چیزا در میادش و اینا. داستان یه زندگی آزاد زندگی آسونی نیست. یعنی اگه فکر کنیم آزاد بشیم زندگی آسون میشه، اتفاقا نه. اتفاقا انسانایی که بیشتر میدونن خیلی بیشتر اذیت میشن و با اینکه با خدا هستن خیلی اذیت میشن و اینا و زندگی آسونی نیست زندگی آزاد و به خاطر همه کس تحملشو ندارن بتونن اون راهو برن. زندگی آزاد یه داستانی هست میگه که یه روزی پرنده روی درخت نشسته بودن و داشتن توی خونه ای رو نگاه میکردن و تو اون خونه چند تا پرنده بودش و اونجا مال اون صاحب اون خونه بود. اون صاحب خونه میمد دون میره، اونا غذاشون رو میخوردن و میرفتن توی خونه کوچک، خونه پرنده ها اونجا داشتن و میرفتن اونجا. پرنده هایی که مثلا رو درخت نشسته بودن میگفتن که خب غذا آماده همیشه اینجاست، ما هر روز باید بریم دنبال غذا، تازه معلوم نیست غذا گیر بیاد غذا گیر نیاد. یکی از اون پرنده ها لیدر بود، ذهن اینو متوجه شد، بهش گفت که آره اینا غذا دارن، اینا سقف دارن، خیس نمیشن، اما بالشون رو چیدن نمیتونن بپرن. اینا پرواز ازشون گرفتن، بهشون سقف رو دادن، غذا رو دادن، اما پرواز ازشون گرفتن. حواستون باشه که گول اینو نخورید. فقط این فرم هایی است که ما توشیم، سانکاره ها، این چیزهایی که ما داشتیم صحبتش میکردیم، داستان همین پرندهایی که بالاشون رو چیدن. آره، به هوای اینکه سیتیزن خوبی باشن، بعد چی سقف خوبی داشته باشن، نمیدونم تو اجتماع قابل پذیرش باشن، فلان باشن، بیسار باشن، امنیت، بقا، از چرخه بقا بیان بیرون، امنیت داشته باشن. چون چرخه بقا باشه ذهن انسان درگیره، توی عالم 2 بعدی 3 بعدی گیره، هستن تو چرخه بقا باشه. آفریقا، میدلیست، این قسمت الان تو همین چرخه ها هستن دیگه. حالا بگذاریم، آزادی به هر حال لایه‌های متفاوتی بودش. من فقط داشتم اخیراً ذهنم رو گیر انداخته واقعیتش که بفهمم این آزادی چیه. هم آزادی اینطوری هستش، هم آزادی اونطوری هستش. حالا هر کسی آزادی رو طبق درک خودش میفهمه یا میشنوه.
کاملا صحیح. هر کسی از ظن خود شد یار من، از درون من نجست اسرار من. And as you said, there are many layers to freedom, but of course, when we are talking in the kind of language of Baba, he talks about real freedom that is beyond all of the layers that we are normally experiencing in life. We, as you said, have a very limited understanding of what freedom is, and we think it has anything to do with, the not caring about life or giving up responsibility or any of that. Some people think that is what freedom is, and other people have different understandings of it. And some people think it is a hard thing, but real freedom is the most joyous experience that there is, because you want nothing. ترک دنیا، ترک عقبا، ترک مولا، ترک. So that you can give up everything at the end. And that is what freedom is. What you're saying is very true. Before we get to that stage, we have to go through periods of anguish and pain. And, we are so attached to everything that the minute they try to take it away from us and free us from it, it hurts. Oh, don't take it away, don't take it away. So that's what you're explaining as well, that freedom, that kind of freedom is very painful but you see, Baba made it easy for us during his new life. He gave away everything to set a template, to create a pattern. You see, when you give up something, energies have to flow in a different way. And he offered his own body, his physical and his spiritual bodies, to process what that freedom of wanting is. He said, I'm going to give up all of my habits. All of my habits. Not only am I going to give up my godhood, but I'm going to give up everything, even my habits, because all of those were from the old. And now I'm starting something new, the new life for the new creation. And he did all of that work. So that is why it would have been impossible for us to do it. Impossible without his help. But because he went underneath and cleansed, because we are all one. And so when Baba does something, because his consciousness is universal, it affects everyone and everything. And so he's already cleansed your insides. It is just a surface habit that we kind of are aware of and keep us thinking that we are not free. But he's already freed us. We just have to gradually, so when we repeat the prayer of repentance, it is only for the superficial habits that we know it's wrong. Why do we know it's wrong? Because Baba has already done it for us. So deep inside, where Baba resides, we know it's wrong. But we can't quite do it yet because of habits. So we're giving our habits to him. We're saying, okay, we repent for these habits that we still have. But remembering that deep inside, he's with us, he's helping us. And as difficult as it is his show and is holding us onto his Dharman, that surrendering to him all the good and the bad. See, we still want to hold onto the bad. We want to say, oh, I have this bad habit, I have this pain, I have this attachment. You have nothing. You don't have attachments. Attachments are Baba's. I'm just, it's easy to say, and we all know this. I'm not saying anything new to anybody, but it's good to say it. It feels good to say it. Thank you, Ramijan, for all the wonderful questions. Yeah, Parvinjan Shama.
I just want to say just something that I recently heard for the second or third time or 100 times, that Ira just said to somebody said, I'm ashamed and I did this and I did that. I said, why are you ashamed when you're not existing? You don't exist. This is so beautiful, very beautiful. If we just repeat this, Ira said, you don't exist. How could you be ashamed of this or that and that? And I love it. I love this.
Yeah.
But
just repeat this. We don't
no,
exist.
but understand. But the thing is, تجربه shame یه تجربه انسانیه و توی تکامل
Yeah, but at
اِوولوشنری
the end,
انسانی
واقعا قبول کن که اصلا ما نیستیم. It's just illusion.
No, I
But
know,
then she didn't see them.
but
That's
the thing,
illusion.
we cannot deny it. It
Yeah,
is
you cannot
illusion,
deny
but
it.
we cannot deny this baseless illusion, you know?
Yeah, you cannot deny. It's just like if somebody takes a knife and cuts your flesh, you're going to hurt.
Yeah.
And that
So
is
I
what.
mean, I just want to say it is a real thing when it comes to human experience. We cannot simply simplify it and deny it and say this and that. Because I'm just coming from personal experience. And then when I went through that process, I realized to come out of that process, that itself, it takes some years for healing to come out of that shame process. But you might not, I just wanted to say, even though we simplify it, even though we just try to, but it's a real experience, and
It
it's so
is.
important to understand the nature of it and grow out of it.
Yeah, it's easier said than done, and we have to go through these experiences. And all the shame that you feel, what does it mean? It means that some sanskaras are coming to the surface to be burnt and cleansed. And when that happens, you feel it. There's no two ways about it. See, all the experiences that we have had in the past, before they can be cleansed, they have to come to the surface and be re-experienced and integrated and cleansed. And that is painful. And it has to be real. And Baba, when he went through his new life, he said, it is a personal calamity. In other words, he appreciated the fact that it is a very personal experience and it is like a calamity. So what you're saying, Ramjinja, is absolutely true. It has to be an experience, otherwise it doesn't work. It doesn't cleanse if it's not felt deeply. And what Parvin is saying is that the way to maybe make the pain a little less is if you can remember this. But it's hard to remember. You can only remember it when the pain is about to end. I remember going through periods when, our Murshid said, when you go through certain periods, it's like going to the gates of hell and coming back. And I remembered those experiences so vividly. You go to hell, literally, and you come back. Because if you're unwinding, your hell and heaven are in this life, not after you die. And so if you're going through hell, at least you should breathe a sigh of relief that you're doing it in this life and you don't have to do it when you die.